Welcome back to the channel. This is a series on great movies that get less attention today than they deserve. The goal is either to present movies that are not commonly talked about, or to discuss aspects of a popular movie that are not frequently mentioned in other reviews. The previous video was on No Regrets for Our Youth by Akira Kurosawa, which is linked below and at the end of this video should you wish to see it. That movie fits into the former category, and here we will discuss a film in the latter. Today we're going to talk about Zero Dark 30, directed by Kathryn Bigelow and released in 2012. This movie was very successful at the time of its release and was nominated for multiple Academy Awards, winning for Best Sound Editing, so it obviously isn't an unsung movie. I discuss it here because many of the reviews about this film at the time of its release got sidetracked onto topics less germane to the film itself, and that's a shame, as this is a great film whose artistic merits deserve recognition on their own. Kathryn Bigelow is one of my favorite directors. She has directed a lot of great sleeper films, including Near Dark, a vampire thriller released in 1987 that Robert Rodriguez likely learned a few things from, and 1995's Strange Days, an imaginative science fiction thriller that presaged a lot of the sci-fi movies that were to come in the new millennium. In the non-sleeper category, she directed Blue Steel, released in 1990, Point Break, released in 1991, K-19 The Widowmaker, released in 2002, and The Hurt Locker, released in 2008, for which she won the Academy Award for Best Director. There is a lot to like in Bigelow's work, but one thing that stands out is her commitment to her characters. They are well written, believable, and stay consistent with who they are throughout the film. Zero Dark 30 tells the story of the search for Osama bin Laden. Maya, played by Jessica Chastain, is a CIA analyst who dedicates her life to finding bin Laden. She is assigned to the U.S. Embassy in Pakistan, where she is first involved with existing efforts that, in her view, will not lead to bin Laden's capture, and she freely expresses her contrary opinion. During an interrogation, a detainee reveals the name of a potential key courier for Al-Qaeda, and Maya suspects that identifying this person will lead to bin Laden. As she works this angle, she gets opposition from others in her working group, as well as her boss, but she sticks to her guns and continues to develop her theory. She becomes so dedicated that her focus, persistence, and somewhat abrasive manner start to concern her co-workers. The leads pitched by others in her group do not pan out, and some lead to tragic deaths. Eventually, more and more evidence are accumulated to support her theory, and a compound in Pakistan is identified as a potential hiding spot for bin Laden. Maya finally gets her chance to attend a conference in which her idea is presented to National Security Advisor Leon Panetta, played by James Gandolfini, for approval. There she is bluntly outspoken, implicitly criticizing others in the room who display uncertainty. The operation is nonetheless approved, and on May 2, 2011, a SEAL team is dispatched to Pakistan, where they gain entry into the compound and kill a man whom they believe is bin Laden. After returning to a U.S. base in Afghanistan with the body, they bring it to Maya, who formally confirms its identity. The operation successfully completed, she returns to the United States as the sole passenger on a military transport. Maya does not have a standard heroine's character arc, where through hard work the heroine progresses from an unfocused, immature kid to a trained, expert individual who takes on and beats the villain. Her journey is a bit more complicated and subtle. Maya's character at the beginning is not uncommon. She starts off as competent and driven, willing perhaps to bend the rules to surmount obstacles to slay the evil dragon, and, spoiler alert, she wins in the end. Her theory is proven to be true, and based on it, bin Laden is brought to justice. Externally, Maya's character acts in a consistent, if increasingly intense, manner throughout the movie. What develops is Maya's perception of her own internal moral compass. From the beginning, Maya irradiates focus and dedication and a level of willingness, at least in theory, to accept brutal techniques. When she first arrives in Pakistan to assume her new role, her first assignment is to attend an interrogation. When Dan, the CIA officer in charge, played by Jason Clarke, recommends that she sit it out, she refuses and instead recommends that they continue.
Come on, let's get a coffee.
No, we should go back in.
Well, I want to put this on.
You're not wearing one? Is he ever getting out?
Never.
Her lack of response to Dan telling her that the detainee will never see freedom is interesting. She doesn't seem to care. It's only relevant to her in that she can now attend without a mask, since this detainee will never be able to reveal her identity. Nonetheless, she is inexperienced. She may have heard of these enhanced interrogation techniques, but she likely has not seen them in practice, and seeing them brings her into moral conflict for the first time.
Have it your way. Let's go. Come on. Grab me the bucket.
Huh?
Come on, grab the bucket.
As Dan and his team waterboard the detainee, she winces and averts her eyes. She cannot bear to watch, and one can't blame her. It's a brutal scene. Although she supports the efforts in theory, seeing the techniques in practice causes her inner moral turmoil. Moral turmoil or not, Maya is still focused, dedicated, and more than a little blunt. When she is introduced to Joseph Bradley, the station chief played by Kyle Chandler, her abruptness and direct answers surprise him. Dan asks Bradley if she is the right person for this type of work. Bradley replies that she has a reputation as a very strong person in Washington, so her personality is already well known. She attends her first team meeting, and immediately causes tension by contradicting others.
A farmer on the Afghan border near Tor Bora reports a diamond-shaped pattern in the hills, tall male in the center of the diamond flanked by 4 guards, consistent with UBS movements.
That's supposed to be his royal guard.
No, that's pre-9/11 behavior.
We have no reason to believe he's changed security tactics.
We invaded Afghanistan, that's a reason.
Those of you who have worked in a large organization know that this approach is not conducive to career advancement. No matter what anyone says, large organizations value conformity above everything else, and breaking out of it has its price. But to Maya, her only concern is getting bin Laden. Their approach is outdated and will fail, so she will say so no matter who she offends. Jessica, played by Jennifer Ely, is a team member who has an opposing theory that Maya dislikes, and they argue constantly.
You're assuming that greed won't override ideology in some of the weaker members.
All right. Money for walk-ins worked great in the Cold War, I'll give you that.
Thank you.
Jessica's response here is all you need to know about the tension that Maya brings to the team. How many times have you seen this response when you've argued with your partner? Despite these conflicts, Maya realizes that it's a team effort, and she supports other members' ideas even when she is convinced they won't pan out. As the hunt continues, however, she becomes more and more focused on her goal to the exclusion of everything else. Her earlier queasiness at witnessing enhanced interrogation techniques has vanished. She now leads teams herself and is not bothered by using enhanced interrogation techniques to get the information she wants.
I'm going to ask you a series of questions based on your knowledge of Al-Qaeda and your position as key financier for the organization.
I have dealt with the Mukhabarat. I have no wish to be tortured again.
No averting her eyes here.
And your life is going to be very uncomfortable until you give me the information I need. Where exactly is Abu Ahmed living at the moment?
Her personal life, never extensive, vanishes to a point that she is a complete loner. While meeting Jessica for dinner and drinks, Jessica has to remind her that they are socializing and she needs to put her work phone away. When Jessica asks about her personal life, Maya replies that she has none. Jessica, as we learn later, is a family person who is the mother of 3. She can participate in the hunt for bin Laden and still have a private life. But Maya can't. Maya doesn't realize it, but she is taking steps down the road towards obsession. As casualties amongst her colleagues mount, her feelings begin to intensify and she begins to see her quest as personal. She clashes with Bradley about pursuing her lead and completely loses control of herself, far beyond reason.
Either give me the team I need to follow this lead, or the other thing you're going to have on your resume is being the first station chief to be called before a congressional committee for subverting the efforts to capture or kill bin Laden.
She is becoming more and more demanding, insisting on getting her way no matter the cost, not only to herself, but to her colleagues.
Yeah? Yes, it is. My guys don't get any sleep tracking the threats within Pakistan.
Right, I understand. But, you know, I don't really care if your guys get sleep or not.
She even admits to the leader of the field team that she feels that pursuit of bin Laden is becoming personal.
A lot of my friends have died trying to do this. I believe I was spared so I could finish the job.
In the presentation to National Security Advisor Panetta, everyone else in the room is intimidated by his presence, but she isn't.
I'd like to know what Maya thinks.
We're all incorporating her assessment into ours.
100% he's there. Okay, fine, 95%, because I know certainty freaks you guys out, but it's 100.
She's just as confident and abrasive to him as she is to everyone else. If being abrasive to your colleagues is a bad move for career advancement, being abrasive to a person who reports to the President of the United States isn't an improvement. As she briefs the SEAL Team squad before the final operation, she is even blunter. The purpose of the whole operation is to achieve her goal.
So they're using you guys as canaries in the theory that if bin Laden isn't there, you can sneak away and no one will be the wiser. But bin Laden is there. And you're going to kill him for me.
At this point, she is so consumed by the hunt that she can no longer distinguish between herself, her team, the U.S., or even the world. She now considers everybody and everything deployed to catch bin Laden as her tools in this pursuit. Maya's character has progressed from a prickly, focused workaholic to a self-absorbed, messianic zealot who feels that she can do anything to achieve her goals, no matter the cost. But the key to her final development occurs at the very end of the movie. The SEALs are exuberant as they bring bin Laden's body back to the U.S. base in Afghanistan, but Maya is uncharacteristically silent. She identifies bin Laden's body with barely a nod and with no sense of achievement. In the final scene, she boards a massive army cargo plane for her return home. The pilot doesn't know who she is, but surmises that she is an important person because the flight was arranged only for her. As the plane takes off, she breaks into tears, and the movie ends. In most current movies, the hero-heroine either exults in their success and looks forward to new challenges, or ennoble themselves by their sacrifice. Maya cries. There are many possible interpretations for this scene, but I see this as the final step of Maya's character development. Now she must live with her actions and their implications, but most importantly, she needs to face the person she has become. Targeting bin Laden was a noble goal, but in pursuing that goal she isolated herself from society and willingly committed acts that will weigh on her conscience for the rest of her life. In many ways, she resembles another obsessive figure, Captain Ahab in Moby Dick. I'm sure most people know this book, but I'll summarize briefly so we all start off in the same place. In this novel written by Herman Melville, the narrator sets off on a whaling vessel captained by Ahab, who had lost his leg on a previous voyage to a white whale named Moby Dick. Ahab tells the crew that their goal is to hunt down and kill Moby Dick in revenge, no matter what. I'll chase him round Good Hope, round the Horn, and round the Norway Maelstrom, and round Perdition's Flames before I give him up. And this is what you have shipped for, men, to chase that white whale on both sides of land, and over all sides of earth, till he spouts black blood and rolls fin out. Whew! No doubt what he's getting at, right? His first mate, Starbuck, is concerned, and Ahab asks if he is not game for the hunt. Starbuck responds reasonably. I am game for his crooked jaw, and for the jaws of death too, Captain Ahab, if it fairly comes in the way of the business we follow. But I came here to hunt whales, not my commander's vengeance. Like Maya, Ahab refuses to listen to cooler counsel and pursues the white whale without thought of the cost to himself or his crew. Unlike Maya, he does not succeed. Moby Dick sinks the ship, and Ahab and all his crew, save the narrator, die. Ahab's pursuit of Moby Dick, therefore, exacted a huge cost, not only from him, but from his loyal crew. Ahab does not have to live with what he has become. Maya does, knows it, and cries at her fate. Vince Lombardi, the original Green Bay Packers head coach whose teams dominated the early National Football League, has said, "The price of success is hard work, dedication to the job at hand, and the determination that whether we win or lose, we have applied the best of ourselves to the task at hand." Lombardi was known to be a hard and driven taskmaster, but he acknowledged that sometimes you lose, and there is no disgrace in this if you do your best. But what if you cannot acknowledge that you might lose? What if you would do absolutely anything to win? And what if, in that case, you win? Captain Ahab didn't win, but Maya did, and now she has to address this question. Some people simply lie. They may be succeeding in an unethical manner, but in their mind there is a greater good that justifies what they are doing. Others cannot use this excuse and are incapable of dealing with the moral implications of their actions, and become even more insecure and erratic as a displacement behavior. But these people aren't interesting, and if Maya was one, the movie becomes a standard action picture, and this is less interesting. But she isn't either of these people. She appreciates how she has changed, what she has compromised to achieve her goal, and that she must now live with that knowledge. This very point has been a focus of other movies. In High Plains Drifter, directed by Clint Eastwood and released in 1973, the townspeople of Lago hire a character, played by Clint Eastwood, to defend them from a gang. They are afraid to fight and would much rather have Eastwood just take care of the gang on his own. He refuses, and instead teaches them to fight and tells them to handle things themselves. "But what happens then?" asks one of them. "What happens afterwards?"
What about after we do it? What do we do then?
Then you live with it.
As always, Eastwood gets to the point. You live with what you have done for the rest of your life. He raises this issue again in his movie Unforgiven, released in 1992. Eastwood plays a poor rancher named William Money, who many years earlier was a feared gunman. Because of his need for money, he agrees to help a young gunman, called the Schofield Kid, kill 2 cowboys for a reward. He brings along an old partner from his gang days, Ned Logan, played by Morgan Freeman. When they finally target the first cowboy, Logan finds that he cannot kill him, and he leaves it to Money to do so.
Can't have forever, you back-shooting bastard!
Money and the Schofield Kid go on to kill the second cowboy. And, as they wait for their reward, the kid confesses that he had never killed anyone before and is badly affected by his first experience. He tries to justify their murders, but Money is merciless in his response.
Well, I guess they had it coming.
We all have it coming, Captain.
Maya is an interesting character because under all that blustery, hostile, intense, and prickly behavior is a decent human being with a conscience. She isn't delusional, and she isn't going to lie to herself to justify what has happened. She faces the same future that the citizens of Lago and the Schofield Kid face. And so, she cries. Thanks for watching this video. I include a link below if you wish to see Zero Dark 30, either online or if you wish to purchase a Blu-ray or DVD. Please like and subscribe if you like this video, and want to see more like it. I include links to other videos on my channel here, so please click on them if you have the time and are interested. Until next time, take care.